Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to CAD Technologies. I hope everyone is doing okay. Today we'll be seeing how to make this component. It's a medium level of component. We give this during our training purposes. Now, continuing our process, in every video we follow certain process. You can go back and see our previous videos as well. In this video, we can see that there are four views shown to us. Firstly, we have to understand that this is a first angle projection. From after that, we can also see that there is a front view, there is a top view, and there is another view which is an auxiliary view taken from this particular edge. There is a detail view given for the support over here in as a detail view. Now, this is basically the stiffener, as you can see, and this is the auxiliary view for this shape, as you can see. There is also a section view which is cut at this location as I am trying to move the mouse. So we can understand the internal features of the holes and the addition of material, etc. Now, to begin making this model, since we are working on part modeling, you can also work on part modeling under start and part design. Since the shape is actually visible from the top, so let us try to begin by taking the top view. Here I'd like to consider this as my 0,0 because the whole body is controlled from this location. So let's try to take the top view and start making our sketch using our pad since we need to add the material. I'm taking the top view. There's a H&V rotation over here which I'll try to explain in any other video in the future. Now, considering the 0,0, this is my 0,0 and I'd like to give this as 40. From here, we do have the shape. We can start making the shape one after the other, assuming starting from here, it goes downward direction and then I have the arc over here. Now, let us try to dimension this before going further. These two are at actually 80 and the arc is of 20. Of 30, sorry, not 20. Now, from here, there is another arc which is supposed to maintain tangency from here as well as to the circle. So, let's try to do that and then try to maintain tangency with either sides. Here, this is the first tangency and the dimension I'd like to give here is 80. Again, it's already in the drawing. Similarly, I have these two dimensions which have to maintain tangency. Now that they do that, we also have a dimension which gives you this particular length which is 50. You can trim off whatever is not necessary and you can use this edge as a reference for later modeling. Everything is perfectly trimmed. So once I exit the model, you can see the complete body. Now this body is actually added up to 20. So at 20, since 20 is already given, I am not changing anything and I am trying to say, okay, this is my view. Now to make any other additions, I need to make this small cut. So let's try to make that cut using pocket. Pocket is usually used to remove a certain amount of material as long as it is in a closed format or a closed profile. You can use your references which you have already seen in a lot of earlier videos and you can start making your sketch. Now the removal sketch is actually supposed to be like this. We can dimension them once we are done with the profile. Dimensioning again is from the center. Again as per the drawing he has already given 62. And the length of this is already 40. So let's try to take that and then try to remove the material. We have to remove material through, so I'm just giving up to next. So it can remove it up to the next surface. This is the base shape which we have achieved. Now, let's start adding the material. There is also circle over here which you can see which is 40. Similarly, you have this shape added over there. So first let's try to begin with that. To do so, I have a dimension from the base. I can either use a shaft or create a new plane and do it. I am comfortable creating a new plane. You can use any other option or you can actually use shaft also while doing the feature. This way I have a control on the body. I can directly use the reference and work on it. Hence I am using the easier approach. I am taking a circle over here and creating a circle. Now once I exit, it tries to add the material. We know it should add towards the body. and immediately to the next, so it tries to add to the next of the body. This is a little more easier way of approaching things rather than using a shaft command. Its shaft is also easy because you have a plane here. It's up to you, whichever is flexible for you, you can use it. Now similarly, I have a small feature over here which is probably used as a clamp, and I want to add this. I cannot do it on the circle, so I'd like to take a plane and then add it till the immediate next phase. So while doing so, I require the plane at 40. On this plane, I'd like to use the addition of material, which is pad on the new plane. Now we know the center axis. Let's use the center axis as a reference. We know this body also, which is a reference. Now we need to make the shape, whatever he has provided. This is the shape. So I'd like to make a rectangle over here. First, I'd like to maintain symmetry and then try to work on whatever the next process is. So I need to maintain symmetry in between these two and then give the dimensions. This is actually the overall length of this is 40 and the width of this is 10. Once I exit, it again tries to add material. It should be adding towards the body, so it adds towards the body. Similarly, we have another addition over here. So again, let's try to use the same face to add the body. This is the face. I can again use this as my reference. It's very easy. Instead of creating perpendicularity and complicating the process, I'd like to use an offset command using which I can directly offset the sketch to a certain distance and then try to add the material. This is around 10. Now I can simply close the lines rather than complicating it again. Similarly, I can close the lines here as well and add the body. This is 10 as shown in the drawing. Exit. Now how much do you have to add this? This is supposed to be added to 50, which is shown in the auxiliary view. So I'm using the auxiliary view to show the process. You can give rounds a little later, but let us finish addition and removal of material and then go into rounds and holes. We also have a small cut here and also have a stiffener here. So first let's try to make this cut and then cut the circle, or let's try to cut the circle and then try to cut this. It's easier that way. So I'll be using a hole because I have a 40 diameter drilled up to 8 depth. So I'm using it and I'm trying to position the sketch. The position of the sketch is exactly in concentric with the previous 20-30 radii arc. We know the diameter is 40 and the depth is 8 only. It cuts the picture. Next, we can directly use a pocket command to start removing the shape. You can use references as well if you want. It's easier if you use references. Now I would require actually a infinite line as a reference. So I don't because I require the concentricity. So I use those as my references. Now getting back to the model, I would like to start from here, make an arc, come back here and close it. Now I know the distance between these two is 20. So once I exit, it tries to remove the material. It has to remove it up to the next and you can see the internal cut. Since we are proceeding feature based, we can make the stiffener now, which is the support in between both the faces. I'm using a stiffener command, which is simple, and I'm taking this plane. Since I've taken this as 0, 0, I directly get the plane. I can use the body as my reference. So when I do this, I need to create the references and then start making the profile. Now the profile actually is given in a better manner in the detail view. So let me try to take a straight line and an arc and another arc and a straight line to the bottom and then leave it. Now while doing this, we have dimensions which are provided to us, that is from the top it's actually located at a distance of 50 and we have the arc dimension over here as 8 and the arc dimension of here is 20. I will coincide that a little later on the body. This has to be in coincident with this face. Now we know that this distance is 8. These are your actual dimensions. Now From the center, he has given a dimension of 35. That is from this center, which again I have taken 0, 0 in the beginning. So I can easily constrain the body using these. There's no tangency here. Let me try to move the profile a little bit this way and work on it. This is 50, this is R8, this is R20, this is 8, this is 35. Let me try to give this distance instead, maybe around 4. Once I exit, it tries to create the stiffener. The stiffener thickness is actually 6, so let's try to give that as 6. There was a particular dimension missing, so I have taken the dimension and I've given you the stiffener. Now, last but not the least are your holes. We already know we can do it one after the other. So there is one over here which is 30 and depth of 42. It has a V cut. So let's try to do that first and then proceed. I have a concentricity constraint which I'm supposed to constrain with the previous circular body, and then exit. Over here the diameter is actually 30 and the depth is 42. It has a V bottom, which you have V bottom over here. This is your V bottom cut. Now coming to the next features, you do have a distance, you do have a dimensions over here for rounds. The center of the holes are dependent on the round, so I'd like to give those first and then proceed. Usually that does not happen, but here in this condition I'm trying to use them as my references because I don't have a center to center dimension. So I'd like to use my points and then start making my point pattern. So I have a point over here. I'd like to make that in concentric with this. Similarly, I'll be using another point in the same line and I'd like to make that in concentric with the arc. This usually does not happen. It's the problem in the drawing. Now, the dimension of this is actually 8. So 8 and it has to be through. So let me try to give through. Similarly, it's the same thing. So I'll directly use a user pattern and select the point. So it tries to create the pattern. There is also a full round here. Let me try to give a full round first and then probably try to make it. It's called a tritangent fillet, wherein you give two faces of the fillet by removing one face to create a simple semicircle. On this, since there is a hole, I'll just try to directly drill a hole. Again, maintain concentricity. And then try to give the dimensions. The dimensions here is 20, so I'll just try to give 20 and drill the feature. These are your step-by-step procedure of making a medium level component using CATIA as the CAD tool. If you want, you can also see the dynamic sectioning, see the features from inside too, or you can just switch it off and then go back to your isometric view. And you can also check out the top view once if you're interested. It looks pretty much like this as per the to know more, to learn advanced level of training or to know more about our course details, you can contact us. Our details are given in the description below. You can subscribe to our channel and like our videos, which will give us a boost for us to post more tutorials like this. And thank you for joining us today.